Well, welcome back to the Property Dialogue. I'm with Colton and Haley, providing comfort and confidence to your real estate experience.
Yes, we do that.
We do that.
Yeah.
We aim to do that.
Yes, we
do. Today we aim to show you a fantastic conversation with two great friends of ours who have done so much good things in the community, as well as for their clients, which we're going to talk a little bit about in the video. Just love having that conversation with them and being able to learn from them.
Yeah, so we sat down with Mike Hill and Casey Harding of Hill Financial Group, and we aren't only just office neighbors, mates with them, but we truly, respect and admire them as humans and professionals and friends. And so it's a really great conversation. It is about some finance and some real estate, so some really great tips in there. Stay tuned.
Well, hello. Welcome to part 2, the much anticipated real estate and financial planning.
Oh, yeah.
This is Money Matters with Mike Hill and Casey Harding, my partner. We talk about all things wealth, investing, and financial futures, and hopefully how to prosper in a financial future. But of course, we have Colton and Haley Kurth here with us, the Better Together Realty team. Next home on Main.
Yes, there we go.
We got
Took a week, but we got it. But they're here as our real estate experts, all things residential, investing. And honestly, that's kind of what we're going to go on today, since God forbid we talk about investing being financial planners as a profession.
That's kind of what we do.
And that's kind of the area that I've done on that side, is a lot of investing in real estate is, a side investment other than stocks and bonds, et cetera. So very curious. Would love to hear some of y'all's thoughts on this. But yes, to that, go ahead and introduce yourself, and again, reintroduce yourself for part 2. This is the part on Amazon where you can either hit skip. You have the intro. It's like skip. I don't judge me because I'm watching 7 episodes in a row. I don't need a review. I don't need a recap.
And yes, I'm still watching.
Yes, I'm still watching. God, you such judge me, Netflix. Anyway.
Well, I'm Colton, and this is Haley, and we have been in real estate for, I guess, you 12 years, me 6. We own a property management company, work with a lot of investors, a lot of clients that are doing both the investment side and the just living in their property, which is also an investment, but not primarily in that way. We love property. We love the area. It's been great.
Well, Casey, I wanted to see if you could go ahead and I'm going to let him ask a couple of questions. I looked last week. I didn't let him ask a lot. So I want to get Casey more involved, since I'm way back here in the corner, just kind of relax. But I'm going to let Casey kind of take a question too, because I definitely have some questions, but also some personal stories with real estate here in the area. Some investments great, some not so great. Anyway, go ahead, Casey.
So, I get a lot of clients that come in and go, hey, I want to invest in real estate, or I want to do something in regards to that being a part of my financial plan. And so what are the things that y'all would say as, realtors and in that world that they would need to know before they would jump into that?
Well, I think the first thing would just be really understanding where that person really understanding where they're at, right? If you're coming in and you're looking for a quick in and out, make some cash, then okay, maybe there is a flip that you can find, right? But primarily the ones that we do a lot of deals, a lot of work with, are going to be buying and holding for a long-term situation.
They're looking for the cash flow.
Yeah. And they're looking for maybe a piece of that retirement in the future, of being able to have a house that's fully paid off, that they're able to get that cash flow from. So I think really just understanding exactly what it is that you're needing and wanting. And I think that's where that relationship is very simpatico here, is that, I don't know anything about that, right? From that perspective, right? I don't know all their finances, but if I know that they've been able to have that conversation with you guys, and then also the lender, and understand what that kind of buy box for them really looks like, then we can come in and go, okay, so here's all the parameters, and then we can start backfilling in that information. I think primarily what you're looking for is something that has been built pretty recent, or at least been taken care of in the more recent time. One of the things that we've run into in a lot of these homes is, prior to, it was the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, we were still using cast iron plumbing, right?
Okay.
The amount of times you can go into a property and say it gets missed on an inspection that there was cast iron in the slab. Well, it's kind of a ticking time bomb as to whether or not that thing's eventually going to
Deteriorate.
literally collapse in on itself. And now we got to dig tunnels and pull pipe and money's going out the window. And suddenly this wonderful investment property that was supposed to cash flow you and, lead you into early retirement is now getting you further and further
It's the
away
money
from the
pit.
goal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, we got a great house. Only downside is it got an outhouse.
Exactly.
It's cheap though.
Yeah, so I think, really just understanding exactly what that buy box looks for you, and then also making sure that you've got somebody in the deal with you that's helping you make sure that you are checking off all these really important details.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said cash flow, and yes, it is. But the first couple of years, I mean, unless it's one. Okay, I have 2 points in my head at the same time. I'm sorry, but one is we have gotten so many more new construction properties that you're managing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like
Okay.
people
Really, that's
are
insane.
buying the property. I mean, right now, what can you get from a builder? Everything.
Yeah.
And so they're buying the property, go ahead and making it an investment property, and you're managing multiple new builds right now, which is really great on the management side because you're able to then use all those warranties if something is happening. And so that one is a different perspective on it, but you have a lot of this going on, which helps a ton. And then all of the older ones that are like way old, it was a great price, and sure, we'll totally be fine to fix all the things, and now we're like selling them off and we're buying other stuff.
And I got a personal on that is just, and this is a plug, but it isn't really supposed to be. I mean, they didn't know I was going to say this, but I had a rental property in Waxahachie, got a real good deal on it. They had ruined the carpet so bad that the sellers before me had put tile throughout the entire house. It was that bad. So I was like, but it was a really good price, bought it. And a nurse moved in, single mom, all the things. Well, she was having some health issues, and I didn't have a property manager. And you kind of know where I'm going with this. And it'd be 1 month I can't make rent. Well, I'm like, I'm not going to kick. I'm not, Ebenezer Scrooge over here saying, kick out. I'm like, do what you can when you can. And then
One thing leads to another.
One thing led to another. And then the yard was growing up this high. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So thank God she's sweet. We worked with her, found her another place, helped her out there. But then once she moved out, we're like, okay. And I didn't have a property manager. So I would have saw the credit check and all the things. Yeah. And I was apprehensive, greedy, whatever you want to call it. I was like, I can do it myself. I can go with it. Because I get people all the time that say that. And once I got a property manager, oh my, 10%. Well, they got me about what I was getting in rent anyway, because they researched, they got the people, that fill out the credit report and all the things. And the only call I would get is, hey, Mike, we have to have a plumber come in. It's $300. You okay with that? I'm going to get the plumber. I'm going to do all the things. I'm like, it was like $150 a month because it was only 10% of the rent. Yeah. I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean, so I can't stress that enough. I get clients all the time. But I don't want to mess with this. Get a property manager.
Absolutely.
Be on the beach. You don't want to be in Cancun and get a call that the AC unit isn't working very well.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway.
And you have a system in place for all that kind of stuff. So, it's not just that one property.
And I'm not saying that but I'm plugging. I know Colton does a great job. I'm just saying in general, I get clients all the time. You're 65. Why are you over there changing the pipe underneath the sink? You don't even do it. Your wife says you don't even do it at your house.
Right. Why are you doing it there?
Why?
It does allow us to come in and handle all of that. And when you think about the amount of money that you probably personally lost during vacancy, you would have paid a fraction of that to a management company, and they would have had a shorter vacancy. Absolutely guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
So, there are small things that people can do in the management space that we're able to do that are ultimately going to make that so much less headache and hassle, and ultimately cheaper. Because the plumber that you call, I've already called on 20 other properties. And you know what he loves? Me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I just sent him 20 other properties.
I'm going to call a plumber for one house when there's a lady going, I got 15 jobs for you next week.
Exactly.
And anybody who is self-managing, if you're ever doing that, the day that I met my current handyman, that guy, if you don't have a good handyman, I don't know what you're doing.
That's the key.
Explore handyman. Oh, they're killing it.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Well, I mean, and Casey kind of asked a question, but it's kind of, as far as I do know, one of the best ways to create wealth long-term is definitely have your assets pay for your liabilities. And what I mean by that is if you have a home and you have rent, you have these houses outside of your regular house, and they're paying enough rent to pay the property taxes, to pay the mortgage debt. And I get people, well, I'm not getting a lot after all that. Yes, you are, because you're using the bank's money after 20, 25 years at 3%, whatever the inflation is on the house. Your $30,000 down payment on that house is going to be a $300,000, $400,000 paid off now mortgage for retirement. You have 4 or 5 of those, and and I want to jump into that, but you could refinance, pull money out, which I've had clients do, and that's a loan, so it's not taxable. Take that 40 to 50,000 equity out of that house 5 to 10 years later. Go buy another rental property. Go read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, it doesn't tell you exactly how to do it, but there's a point that the rich dad was the one that spent every dollar that he had, and the poor dad was, anyway, not to run the book, but but anyway, I didn't get off the subject, but it's just, that's how you can create wealth. The only, and one question I had was the pros and the cons, and I guess I'm answering it, is the only negative that I've ever had with people that do nothing but real estate is when you get these downturns and you can't pull money out because maybe property values have stayed the same or haven't gone up. So the banks aren't really doing financing, or rates have gone up. So it doesn't make sense to refinance. You're kind of locked in. Now you're in your cash poor, what is it? All hat, no cat. I mean, you're cash poor, property rich, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but you get in a bind, you get laid off from work, whatever it may be, and you need to have some liquid assets. That's where me and Casey come in, because I have clients all the time that don't just ask, should I be invested in real estate? I have clients that are high net worth individuals. I go, I can't believe I'm looking at your portfolio. Why don't you have any real estate? I would have real estate just because of the tax benefits that you get from the real estate. Anyway, didn't mean to jump.
Well, it's a balancing act, right? Like, you can't just have only real estate or only stocks or whatever it is. Like, and that's why you have advisors, and then that's why they connect you with people that are helping you balance all of that with that whole goal in mind, not just let's go buy 4 investment properties today. And to your point, and thank you for saying it, that you might not make it so much today. It's a long game. As long as you are breaking even, getting a little bit in there, the property is in good condition, so you're not having to spend a ton of money. Let that start working for you.
And I think in both of our professions, so we deal with a lot. Majority of our clients are 50 and older. Okay, getting retirement age or older. So there's still a little bit more patient. Man, both of our professions, I think, are going to be changed because of the instant gratification generation that's come up behind us. I mean, when I'm doing this, I'm like, you're on Instagram. Okay, you didn't get my attention in 5 seconds. Next. It's like we're all little kings watching. You did not abuse me. Next. That's what I feel like this generation is, and I'm even guilty of it. So it's like, so we're going to ask these people that are 25, hey, you're going to be a millionaire at 55 if you do this.
Can you just wait?
Well, I want to do that. Now I want to buy that Porsche down. I want to be an influencer and I have a YouTube channel. Okay, but that happens for 1 out of a billion people, so maybe we do it this way to your point. The older generation, they kind of get it. It's the next one I'm kind of nervous about with the instant gratification. So.
We have a good range on our clientele right now, though. Very proud of our younger.
Good.
We have a good range on everybody right now.
And it's a small sample size. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, Haley was saying, just make sure it's like breaking even or, slightly cash flow positive. Is there like where you would say this is probably a good investment if we can be at cash flow positive of X amount?
So there might be a more standard rule of thumb. I would prefer to see a minimum of at least a couple $100 that can be set aside, that in a couple of months you've got maybe $1,000 or a couple $1,000 that you can look to as, the AC's got to be serviced, or this thing's got to be fixed. The idea would be that you would never have to take money from your actual savings account or bank account and go in and do something to a property. Okay. Now,
when they're getting started on that, how much should they probably keep in their bank that's specifically for that rental?
Oh, I see. I would say
it's a different question.
Yeah. I would love to see at least a month or 2 of actual mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Great.
Because the upside too.
You're not saying anything that I don't tell my clients. That's why we didn't know before. You're the expert. I'm just,
Casey's like, check.
My thing really is that we never want to be in a position where they're too stretched. They're stretched too thin.
Yeah.
Right.
Something stupid happens and now there's nobody paying that rent and now we're a mortgage and now we've got a real problem.
Yeah.
Because of the way we're set up, we're protected in a minimum of a month out from the person stopping the payment. Right. So, and thankfully, because property rights are what they are in Texas, we can actually get somebody evicted or removed from that property within 30, 35 days, provided that the gist of the piece isn't crazy backed up.
Sure.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, a couple of months is a good rule of thumb.
Perfect.
Okay. Well,
Good question.
yeah, great question. I just kind of got off track there. I was thinking of something else to ask, and now I'm like, okay, great. We got
I know, that was great.
No, I love that side of
yeah.
it. So, okay, with the rental property, and one of the things I can't go into detail on because of compliance reasons, but I can at least mention it, and I know y'all know how to do it. If you have a rental property, one of the things, first question I ask is, I know how we'll answer, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. How would you own a rental property, and what kind of title or what kind of name would you suggest to clients that they own rental property?
I would put it in an LLC.
Okay, I didn't mean we're not. None of us are attorneys here
Yeah.
or CPAs, but that's what I was going with.
Definitely not an attorney.
And I, in my own personal preference, and this may be overkill, but every time I owned a property, I would form an LLC and have one property in each LLC for liability purposes. Yes, it's $450 or whatever, and you got to file tax on it, but it's so worth it because if somebody falls down on this property, they can't sue all the other four that are inside that limited liability corporation. So we've gone over LLCs before in some of our podcasts, but I can't stress that enough. I get clients, well, I'll just get an umbrella policy. But then if you have $2 million in net worth, they can attach every bit of your net worth on somebody that built a picket fence wrong and fell down, or a cast iron pipe exploded in the middle of the thing. So,
Well, I think it's the same with our business. We have two brokerages. Colton is the broker of property management.
Yeah.
I am the broker of the real estate brokerage. So it's the same kind of thing.
and it is separate.
And
I mean,
it's separate.
this house right over here has no effect on this house that's over here.
And if you're starting with that and you're just kind of like, oh, I have 3 properties, but I never put them in an LLC, just get your investment properties into their own one and keep your your primary resident separate, and then start building out those. Like, you don't have to go open up 7 today. Let's just start it.
Right.
And I know we do the numbers all the time, and it drives people nuts, but we're numbers guys. And it just, all the time, people always say, well, I bought it for $300,000 and I sold it for $350,000. And I forget, that it was covered by rent and all that kind of stuff. Well, I made $50,000 in 5 years. No, you made $50,000 on a $60,000 down payment.
Yes.
It baffles my mind
Yeah.
how many times I get that from very educated people. Well, I made $50,000. You did, but you made an 80% return. You made a 90% return in 5 years. And by the way, and this is what I was going with part 2, learn all you can about this. If you own rental property and you want to sell it, learn what a 1031 exchange is.
Yes.
Learn it, know it, own it, all the things. Find you a qualified intermediary. It's a way of, just long story short, selling a property and exchanging it into a new one without having to pay any capital gains taxes.
Yes,
I do not think
huge.
that loophole is used enough. I think I've had clients that have sold. I just had one last year, and it just sold he was 80 years old, couldn't manage the 100 acres anymore, sold his property, paid the capital gains taxes. I told his son what I would have done is either 1031 exchange it into 4 or 5 different properties or something like that, or you could do 3 at a time. Or if he would have, when he passed away, the stepped up cost basis goes up to the. If y'all could have just paid your dad the rent of wherever he wanted to live, that would have just paid for the mortgage or the taxes on the place and all that. And then when he died, y'all would have paid no tax on it. His dad sold the place for multi-millions, paid over $1 million in capital gains taxes. Wow. And he died 4 years later.
And one conversation, 1031.
$1 million.
That's all it would have taken.
And that's all it is. It's just pushing paper around.
And so for us, that's a question that we're asking up front because a couple of years ago, I was running down the hallway here, Mike, I need help with the 1031. The deal's going to blow up and I need you to save it. And you did. And it all worked out great. And we got it done very quickly because we have the right connections.
I remember this.
I mean, that was a day. I was crying running down the hallway.
Because that is stressful. I will say that the IRS gives you that tax exemption or tax deferral, for lack of a better word. But they have, it's 180 days. They don't care if it lands on a Sunday. It's today's Christmas. You better close it today.
And it was. Remember, it was in December. But that's one of our questions that we're talking to people. What do you want to do with this property? And I know that you're thinking, well, I want to buy it. I want to make money on it. And I don't care what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years. Life happens every day. So if we are having those conversations today about, well, if we do this, in the future, a 1031 could be something you do with this property. And we start planting that seed early on in the process, because then it's 3 years, 5 years, and they're going, hey, what was that thing you said again that would help us with taxes?
Right. And I had a client on don't know if I should say this because I don't know how tax savvy or if it was okay tax wise. But again, I'm not CPA, and I'm not gonna say the client's name so he can get in trouble later. But he exchanged one of his rental properties. This was genius into another rental property, of course. But he had like 200,000 left over and exchanged that into an RV. Because the IRS, they allow you to use houseboats and sometimes RVs as rental property.
Oh,
and so
that's a big deal.
I was like, so you bought your
RV
RV tax free?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
hey, we're just saying be green about how you do it.
I don't want to get hit by a bat while I'm going out to my truck, But I think it was legal and been audited yet, so knock on wood.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Well, going back to the LLC and where would you put them? I think the biggest thing is you're constantly trying to put problems in between and as far away from you and your clients as you possibly can. Right? And so having somebody with the 1031 exchange knowledge that's going to be able to say, hey, you should take that money and go here, here, and here, and you're going to save yourself $1 million is crazy not to. Right?
Yes.
And on the flip side, if you're not, people don't understand that the Texas Property Code exists for a reason.
Yeah.
And if you aren't rekeying after every tenant, you're potentially liable for a lot of money if something bad were to happen at that property. The whole reason that the code exists is because at some point something bad happened to somebody and it cost somebody a bucket of money and now it's there. And if you don't follow it, things could fall apart in the end and you get hosed.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so, I mean, down to the smoke detectors not being over the age of 10 years.
Now I'm going to be looking around.
You're about 10 years old, so you're okay. Yeah.
I mean, there are even the window locks. I mean, there are these small, minute details that if they're not taken care of on the property management side, you could be wasting a lot of money. And on the 1031 tax side, I mean, you're talking about millions in some cases. Yeah. So.
And people seek out advisors for that. They're asking you the best way for their money. Yeah. And they're asking Colton, please deal with that so I don't have to. Go check all the little boxes so that I don't have to worry about it. A lot of times we're like, I don't even care what it says, just take care of it.
Yeah. And that's the only, and getting up, sorry, Kate, because I know you taught this class, but that's where I get off a little bit separate from Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey's teachings, which I love a lot of things that he does. And he's really good for couples trying to start out or that are in financial debt. Yeah. And I love his biblical principles. Love all of it. But the one thing I don't like is he says get rid of all debt. I do think there are such things as good debt. Leverage is good if the asset is self-servicing.
Yes.
Leverage is good on property because if anything, drive around. There's houses that were 50 years ago built. I promise you, unless they're in the ground, they're worth more than they were 50 years ago. It's called inflation. So it's just, I can pick all the stocks in the world. I can't look in the eye and go, inflation's going to absolutely make this stock go up. Well, somebody comes out with an iPhone that's 10 times better than Apple and all the things. Apple stock ain't going up, So anyway, it's just, I love leverage. I just wanted to point that out because I've had that question. What do you think about Dave Ramsey? He always says get rid of all debt. On the rental properties, if it's self-serving, I don't agree with that. That's just me. So, anyway.
I think it just all depends on your goals, and that's where you're going to call. You're going to call everybody. Get your goals written down.
Like you told me not to pay it off. Now I don't have a tenant and I'm broke. Okay, well, how do you see the real estate role kind of complementing with what we do as financial advisors, and a piece of advice that you would give somebody looking to do some kind of, rental property for the first time, and how that I guess the first question is how the role with us and you merges, especially into the rental property game or investment property game. And then second question would be, what advice would you get to people that are doing it for the first time?
Oh, I'm going to answer the second one first. Just pull up here. It's the same building. You can talk to all of us.
Did that on purpose.
And we can help you out. But I think, I know that we refer to y'all a lot and vice versa because our jobs do overlap so much, right? Like we're constantly telling people, the other day, you're like, hey, you said that you're coming into this and now you got to call Mike first before we can buy your next property. Yeah.
Literally had a client call me. They had just purchased a home and then they had a great situation at work, ended up coming into a large sum of money. And they called me and said, hey, we want to buy an investment property. I said, that's great. We start talking more and they're like, yeah, we've got all this money here and this is coming. And then they start asking me about, well, we're going to put some over here in this investment. We're going to go here. And I said, hey, that all sounds great to me. But if I'm being honest, I have no clue if that's a good idea or not. And they said, okay. And I said, here's this number. Call Hill Financial. they're going to take care of you and at least have the conversation. Because in the same way that I would tell them to go talk with Danny or a lender and figure out what your monthly is going to be, what this overhead and this is going to cost to actually get in.
Right.
In the same way, I can't look at them and say, well, if you buy this house, I can guarantee you it's going to do this.
Yeah.
But if they come here and they say, hey, Casey, Mike, what do I need to do? You're going to be able to say, here's a plan of what I would do with that money. And literally, I said like 4 times, but what's going to happen is they're going to have that appointment and then we'll be able to circle back and, just plan appropriately.
I think Casey, I think combined together, we've had over 40 something years of financial planning experience. And I will tell you, I do that all the time. Like, look, I don't know the answer. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
But I promise you, I know somebody that does. In 28 years of doing this, I've run into accountants, CPAs, attorneys, real estate agents, somebody I trust that will know the answer to this.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah, but they really do play hand in hand. And if you're not, I've said it a lot of times, so I'm sorry, but you have to know the goal. And if we know the goal, then your pieces can get placed right. Our pieces can get placed
that
right.
sounds so familiar.
And we can get to the end, and a lot of times people just want to be like, well, I got all of this. I'll just put the whole thing into the next property. I'm like, hold on. If you can do 20%, if you have more, let's call them and let's see where else we can put it because you don't want it all in one spot all the time.
Well, especially
so they
when
really
you
do go hand in
realize
hand.
that 25% down is going to be usually like your best break point,
Right.
like on that interest rate. And so after that, then it's just a dollars and cents game, and more likely than not, taking the rest of that money and putting it over in some sort of investment or whatever is going to end up much better off in the long run. So,
and it's and we're getting, I don't get the subject because of time, but that's the hardest thing that took for me to realize 10 years ago when I started dabbling in commercial property. I was like, it's 3,000 square feet. I mean, it's about the same price as residential. No. It's about $100 more per square foot.
It's a whole different game.
People don't even sleep there. How can it be more? This is crazy.
It's a different game.
So that was, you got to kind of get expectation. That was me. I was like, I want 3 or 4 commercial properties. People don't sleep there. The electricity's only on 8 hours a day. It's great. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think the last thing was kind of what we're talking about was if you had a first time buyer looking to do it, what is just real quick? I know we kind of gone over some tips, but just what would you tell them? Just, I guess, go get a loan or what would be your, I'm walking in right now. I want to buy a rental property by June 15th. What would you tell them?
You can call us today and we can help you. The thing would be like, okay, you're ready. This is your first investment property. Get in the door. We have a lot of questions. You need to sit down with whoever you're going to use and make sure that you understand. Yeah. But you need to come sit down. We'll put it right here for you. Have a real conversation, and you have to be honest with us too about when it's all looking like.
Yeah.
And I know it's tough because we're talking about money. It's hard to talk about money with your spouse. It's hard to talk about money with your advice. Like, you want everyone to think that everything's good. And the more honest with us you are, the better we can help you. We can make sure that it is the right time, that we can have somebody in there by June 15th, that all of it makes sense, and that don't only have $5 left over, and then things are going to happen when you buy a house, whether it's investment or not. So, is everything in line? Sit down. Let's talk about savings account. Let's talk about how much we can actually rent this property for. Just because you think that's a great rental neighborhood does not mean that it is. A lot of times HOAs have a huge factor in that, and the common consumer isn't thinking about that. And so we have a list of questions to make sure that we're hitting your needs, that we're putting you in there for success, we're setting you up for that success without you just being like, I got some money, let's go buy a house. And so, I mean, the biggest thing is, and I know it sounds very cliche because it's been my answer to everything you've asked, but it's sit down and have an honest conversation, and let's make sure that we know what the goal really is. And it's completely possible. It takes about 30 to 45 days to close on a house. But that means that you've talked to the lender, we got the right type of loan set up to make sure that we're not putting you in a situation where you accidentally checked primary residency somewhere that's not supposed to be, because that's a whole nother game. Then we got to go sell the house because now you got 2 primary residents, right? Making sure you set that up correctly, making sure that we gave ourselves enough time. Is your goal that I only want to be able to get the best deal out there, so I want to slash the price? Or is the goal that I want to have this as my monthly payment because that's what we can afford, and if the whole rent covers it, then great. And then we structure that deal right to get you there. And so it's way more than just, I got some money, let's go buy a house.
I think the takeaway with this, and I think this is why we align so well, and it's not that way. I've worked with realtors in the past, et cetera, and same way with advisors. That's why I think me and Casey make a great partnership as well, is I've never considered myself a salesman. If I have to sell you on something, then it makes me feel like I don't like the feeling, all of it. I feel like we're already contrary to each other. Yeah. I'm winning, you're losing. It just, I don't like that being on different sides of the table. I always try to consider myself a teacher. Here's some things that I've learned in 28 years. This is the advice I would give you if I was sitting where you are. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but here, and it's honest and it's pure. And I think y'all do the same thing. Y'all are teachers. You can just hear that with how you're handling just these questions. And I think that is the difference. I think you find somebody just there to educate me, to help me along the way. I could trust, but teaching first, I can't say that enough. I think is what people want, especially in these kind of fields, especially in things. Because you're right, taxes, liabilities, HOA, all the things. It's just, do you have a property manager? Do you not have a property manager? All the things questions that come up that looks good on paper. Because I saw a TikTok saying, hey, this is how you become a millionaire. This is how you do it, yeah. But, at the end of the day, there's a lot of other loopholes that you haven't looked at. So I just wanted to thank Haley, Colton again for being on Money Matters with Casey and Talkie Mike Hill. I think it was a very good segment. I'd love to see what the viewers, please leave comments. I'd love to see what y'all's views and viewpoints are on these 2-part series. We're not having a 3rd part unless it gets that popular. Maybe we'll do that. But I just wanted to thank y'all. The phone number and everything will be right here for Better Together. You need investment property, you need a property manager. These are the guys to call. I can't say enough about it. So, Casey, any closing thoughts?
No, I think that was great. Super helpful. And just kind of letting people know what it takes to get started. And so, thank you guys.
Thank y'all. Always fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.